Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. So it's been a while guys. It's good to be back posting content. And this is going to be a group call recording of one of my student calls back in the Oracle yesterday. And I was giving some niche sales advice. When I say niche sales advice, I'm not trying to be corny here, but this isn't the typical foundational, oh, here's the framework, here's what you say, yada, yada, yada. This isn't basic sales advice. These are little tips and tricks that you can implement in your sales process, in your setting process, even in your phone setting process. If you guys are SDRs, you can use this to your advantage and close deals. So make sure you take notes with this one because it's going to be value packed. I'm also going to separate it in different chapters so you guys know what I'm going to talk about in each of the points. And yeah, like I said, make sure you take notes and you watch this whole video in full. Most importantly, you guys need to implement this stuff. I'm gonna roll the clip now, guys, and I hope you enjoy this. Now, the first tip that we talked about is no assumptions. Don't make assumptions when you're closing. Don't put words in the prospect's mouth thinking you know the answer. Let them tell you the answer.
Okay, number one, no assumptions that the prospect do the work. At the end of the day, guys, you're on this call to help them make a good decision. But another reason why you're on the call is to gather the information you need so you can help them make the decision that's necessary for them, even if it's to disqualify them for the program. Like, let's say you've hopped on a call with someone, you've run through the whole sales process, and in your head, your gut, and not just in your head, in your gut feeling, because a lot of you, when you're starting out, you'd want to stick to the framework. I know I do that sometimes too, which is not something I need to work on. But in our heart of hearts, when we're on a call with a prospect, there's going to be times when I'm like, okay, they don't seem like they want to change that much. They haven't really given me a good reason throughout this entire call why they want to make that change, what they're doing it for, why they're aiming for it. Some of them don't even know what they want. Like I'll ask some people, how much money do you want to make in sales? Or like what's the vision? They won't even know. I've tried to help them out. I asked them questions more about it, but they just can't seem to have clarity on that. In that case, then it's okay to disqualify someone. You just have to be okay with that on the call. Yeah, you can either disqualify or qualify them. So no assumptions that the prospect do the work. Biggest mistake a lot of people make is when they ask a question, they try and add on some things at the end instead of letting the prospect just answer in their own version. So, for example, what happened earlier? For example, I was on a one-to-one with a guy. We did a role play. Guy says, "So, what's the big goal when you get to 5K a month? Like, what's the vision here? How would your life be any different? Like, are you gonna be able to move into a new apartment? Are you gonna get a new car? Like, are you into like getting a nice watch, or are you just more of a simple man who is not really flashy? Like, you don't. I said to him, you don't say all that. Just ask the first part. Just ask them, what's the vision? How would life be any different? And then they'll tell you the answer. Last thing we want to do is you want to put words in the prospect's mouth as to what they want. No, what you want doesn't matter. It's what the prospect wants because every prospect is different. They need to tell you what their answer is, what their truth is, not what you think is the truth. So instead of being like, hey, so how much do you want to make? And how would life be any different? Like, are you gonna invest into stocks? Are you gonna invest into another business? Like, are you gonna buy some nice things? Or are you just more of a simple guy? Don't need to do that. Let them tell you. Does that make sense so far, guys? Let the prospect do the work. Let them come to their own conclusions and let them tell you it.
Now, in this chapter, we're talking about how you need to do only 10% of the talking if you're a closer. And the 90% of the other talking needs to come from the prospect. Because I bet you made this mistake before where you just yap and yap too much, thinking that you're building rapport with the prospect, when in reality, you're just turning them off minute by minute.
Remember what we talked about on our last couple of calls? How what is rare, what is scarce, is valued more. If there's this, that's why luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, these ultra rare like supercars, these rare mansions that cost millions and millions of dollars, there's still going to be people willing to pay for that because it's valued, it's scarce. Not a lot of people have it. Not a lot of people can afford it. So that makes it look more valuable. So when you're doing fairly of the talking, when you do talk, then what you're saying is perceived as valuable. They're gonna listen to you more. They're gonna give a fuck. They're gonna answer the question straight, like how you want it to be. But if you're just blabbering your mouth off, you're not asking the question straight and putting words in their mouth, then it's like, okay, this guy's talking a lot. I subconsciously don't value that. What I do value is when he does finally shut up, when he or she finally shuts up, and lets me talk. Right. And it's just life advice too. When you're around like high level people or everyday people, be the one to do most of the listening. Don't be trying to like interrupt or think of the next cool thing to say. Let them talk. Let them talk. And then when you do talk, it's going to be valued more. It's not going to be taken for granted. So that's the first thing. Don't make assumptions, because there's so many times when I made assumptions of a prospect. I'll think, oh, okay, this guy's hopping on a call. He put on his form. He has 0 to 500 to invest. He has 500 to 1K to invest. Oh, shoot, he's going to be unqualified. Turns out when I hop on the call, then sometimes this guy had 2, 3 grand in savings, 4 grand in savings. It's just he had to be on the call to be in a buying state. And then he would have paid in full, which he did. Like I had one guy way back. He put 0 to 500 on his form to invest in the Oracle. I hopped on the call with him. I was like, well, he's from US. Well, and I need practice anyway. I had to hop on a call, get some practice. Let me take it with this guy. Bro ended up pay in full. Right. So don't try not to assume. Withhold your assumptions. Let the prospect do the work. Let them tell you the real truth.
So this next one is very, very important. The prospect does not remember what you said to them on the call. They will remember how you made them feel. There's such thing as a first impression, but there's also a last impression. So how did you make them feel when you hopped off the call?
All right. Next thing. People won't remember what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. Big, big one. Is something I also need to work on as well. When I did my mock call, I was so focused up in my head about, oh, I need to get paid from this. I need to get paid from them more. I need to get paid from them more. I'm asking like questions that don't move the needle. And then when I came to the end of the call, when I did the mock call, the feedback that I got wasn't, oh, you didn't get enough paid. It wasn't that. It's what I thought I was going to get. I didn't get that. The feedback that I got instead was, bro, you should have just been there to build a relationship, like actually be more authentic, ask the question you need to ask and be present. I was like, oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. People will not remember when you hop off a call with them, whether you close them or not. They're not going to remember what you said, because think about it, guys. It's logistically, it's a 30 to 60 minute call. You're probably yapping your mouth off. It's a lot you probably covered. And it's human psychology too. People won't remember what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. So did you, at the end of the call or during the call, am I making them feel comfortable? Am I making them feel like they can trust me? Do that make them feel like I'm an expert? Because even if they don't close, let's say you need to book a follow-up call and then they had to move some finances around. Between that first call that you did and the second call, the follow-up, they're more likely to close on that second call if you did your job right here in the second half, which is make them feel heard, understood. Like they should trust you, that you're an expert. Compared to if you were on a call, I've done this many times, and it's like I said, I need to work on it, where it just felt like you were interrogating them. Because when I did my last mock call a couple like 30 minutes ago, one of the feedback I got was I felt kind of interrogative with like how I was asking the questions. Does that make sense? Do you feel like you guys have made that mistake before, where you kind of just like rely on the framework, the script, instead of actually being a human being? Like Eden, one of the first feedback I gave you was like more energy,
Yeah,
more energy. Maybe you're like a naturally nonchalant person. I don't know.
I
But
am like even the girls in there was like the way you just announced the result was so nonchalant.
say that again.
Like when I told the girls, like the influencer, she was just like, you say it so nonchalant.
Yeah. You can be a nonchalant person. You can be a laid back closer and still close the deal. but I think it's just about having more enthusiasm.
Okay.
'Cause like, look, when you're talking to a friend, like, maybe you really are not like I'm a, I can be a nonchalant person
Yeah, I
most of
will
the time,
say. Mhm.
and you can be a nonchalant person too. But when you're talking to a friend, it's a different energy compared to like, let's say, on a sales call where you could have improved that. When you're with your friend, yes, you might be nonchalant, but you give a fuck. I'm not saying you didn't give a fuck on your call, but you know what I mean. Enthusiasm, presence, because you were like this on the
Yeah.
call, right? Did you notice that? You're
Yeah,
just like
yeah. I think I said it
reading
too.
off
Yeah.
of your framework. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be be enthusiastic, be fully present on the call, right? So because they'll pick up on these micro mannerisms. One thing I got called out on in the mock call that I did was I wasn't even aware of it. I wasn't even aware of my facial expressions. And on the call, they said that I look kind of reactive. What I mean by that is instead of being cool, calm, collected, and just being present in the moment, and then just letting the questions come to me and asking whatever felt right, not following a certain framework or agenda, I was like, in my facial expression, I can tell like, oh shoot, I'm not getting what I want, which is a pain point. Uh, and they picked up on that, and it just like kind of broke a bit of rapport, broke a bit of a trust because it just looks like you're going there with an agenda. So that's the third thing. People won't remember what you said; they'll remember how you made them feel. This goes for when you're doing the whole point of the call, the whole call when you're doing discovery up until when you even hop off the call. They'll remember how you made them feel. And that could be the difference between them closing and them not wanting to speak to you again or going with a competitor who made them feel better. So be a human being at the end of the day, guys. Be you. Just be a friend, but also be a leader.
So this next one, guys, is about pre-handling objections and objection handling. Specifically, the partner objection or the parent objection, and we have the fear objection. I've given a couple ways on how to deal with those. What is the process behind that? So you guys aren't stuck at the end of the call. You spent 30 to 45 minutes doing your sales process. You come to the end and they give you one of those two objections. So this is the sauce right here on how to deal with those objections.
And then next thing is pre-handling objections and objection handling. So this is a bit more of the tactical stuff, guys. Me and Abdullah talked about it earlier. So for example, I know you might say it wasn't an objection, Eden, but uh the decision maker objection that could have also been avoided if the husband
Mhm.
was on the call. Because luckily your prospect was like that when they put their money where their mouth was and they paid. But a lot of people aren't that way. Probably like 10% where they'll actually do that. It's 90% of other prospects who give that same objection, you're never going to hear from them again. They're going to say, "Oh, I'll get back to you. I promise. Like I'll let you know. Like I'll let you know my final decision." And then it's crickets right after. I just had a call like that last week, which could have been avoided. So when it
Mhm.
comes to the decision making maker objection, so if ever you guys get I need to speak to my parent objection, or I need to speak to my business partner objection, one where they rely on a decision maker that's not present on the call, it could be one of two ways. It's either number one, they're not dependent on making the decision. They just kind of like, for example, I just want to speak to my parents because I just want to let them know what I'm doing. Like I can pay, but I just need to let my parents know if that's cool. That's one where they're non-dependent. And then whoops, number two is they're dependent. So the parent's in charge of the finances. The business partner is in charge of the finances. The spouse is in charge of the finances. We'll go with the second one. It's easier. So if it's the second one, you should have pre-handled that. You should have, on their form, make sure that the decision maker is on the call with them from the get-go. And if they're not, then you can probably rebook them in for a second call with the parent attending or the decision maker attending. Because last thing I want for you guys is you hop on a call and you've wasted like 50 minutes of your time because at the end they've gone and said, "Oh, I need to speak to my parent about this. They have access to my finances." You could have just handled that off the first 5 minutes and been like, "Okay, let's rebook for a second call." Simple as. If you want to add this to your framework as well, like pre-handling the parent, the decision maker objection, you could be like towards the start of the call, you can be like, okay, and just so we're clear, bro, I know you put on the form that you're the only decision maker. Should we make one? Is that still stand? And then 9 times out of 10, though, yeah, they were right. Like, yeah, I'm the decision maker, bro. Okay, cool. Then let's get into it. So how this call really works is X, Y, Z. Get into the frame. And then when it comes to like, some people will say, "Oh no, I need to get my parent on the call as well. They're the decision maker." In that case, rebook them in for the second call. Does that make sense? One's in the chat. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, sick. All makes sense. Now, if they're non-dependent, if it's just like a case of they can make the investment, they can do it, but they just want a blessing from their parents. They just want to let their wife know that they're doing this. What's gonna happen, guys? You guys know this. If you like Mikhail, you'd relate to this. That's why I got your dad on the first call, bro. If you were just on the first call, on our first call, and your dad wasn't there, you probably would have been like, I need to speak to my dad first because he's in charge of the finances. And then if you speak to your dad, because you know how this program works, he doesn't. So if you go to your dad, which who has zero awareness of how this all works and what we talked about on the call, he probably would have just said no. 99.9% of the time they'll say no. So it's a losing game you're playing. So that's why when I was on a call with Mikhail for the first time, I got his dad on the call too. So I posed both of them. But let's say like it's non-dependent. I can do this. I just want to ask my parents for a blessing. You could be like, okay, so it's fair to say that you can make this investment work by yourself. You're the one in control of it, but you just want to ask for your parents' blessing. Is that correct? Yeah, for sure. Here's a line you can use. You want to handle that then. It's just fear. So at the end of the day now, they can do it. It's just fear and uncertainty, which is one of the three real objections. Do you remember the other two, guys, before we move on? So if this is one of the three real objections, what were the other two? Just a bit of homework. We have blank, fear, and blank. Eden, you got one of them right. The other one is kind of fear. To be honest, if you think about it, value is like, if they saw the value in it, then there would be no fear. So one of them is money. What's the last one, guys? Keep your brains firing. What's the last real objection?
Would it be time?
Kind of. What's a more general term for time, if that makes sense? Like, well, what is time? Like, what kind of thing is time?
Is it priority? Well, that's not really an
Nope.
objection.
Nope. Should I reveal the answer? We have money, fear, logistics. Money, fear, and logistics are the only three real objections. Anything else they say outside of that is fake. It's a smokescreen. If they say, "Oh, I need to think about it. Give me some time," that's cap. Well, before you do go and think about it, what's coming up? What's coming up that's making you want to go think about it? What did you want to think over? Oh, I just wanted to think over like if this was within my budget. So it's money then. Right? You see how that's not a real objection? It just always leads back to, if we're being real with the prospect, it just leads back to these three. It's either the money, it's either fear or uncertainty, and logistics.
Is
Logistics
that
being like time, for example. Go ahead.
is that the only objections, or could there be more behind that?
Give me an example.
I'm not really sure. I'm just thinking there could be, if there could be.
Example. Oh, no. If that's the case, no, it's these three, bro. Like, for example, I need to think about it. Okay, what do you need to think about so I can help you out? Oh, I need to think about if it's within my budget. That's money then. Oh, I need to think about if this is really for me. I'm not sure. That's uncertainty. Oh, I need to think about like if I can allocate the time to commit to this program. That's logistics then. Oh, like I'm moving out soon, so I need to prioritize that first before, and I'll get back to you. That's logistics, and then also a bit of uncertainty. Oh, I'm weighing out my other options. I've got calls booked with with other like coaches, so I'll hop on calls with them and see what they say. That might seem like a real objection, but honestly, that's uncertainty because if you did your job right, you'd be the only option. They'd want to join your program. If it was everything they're looking for, they would have joined right now, forgetting the other competitors. So these are the only three real objections, guys. So if they are not dependent, if they can make this move, then what's holding them back? You got the money, you can do it. Most likely it's sometimes it might be logistics, but most of the time, guys, in this case, it's gonna be uncertainty. I just like I don't I have the money, but I don't know if I need to think about if I wanna actually do this. Okay. So would it be fair to say it's just like you can do this, that you have the money to invest, but just a little bit of fear, a little bit of uncertainty. Yeah, it's a bit of uncertainty. My favorite ways of handling fear and uncertainty. So you can see this as like fear, objection, handle. Oh, I think my whiteboard is bugging. Can you see it now, everyone? Can you see the whiteboard now, guys? Okay, cool. Couple ways you can have. So I'll just give you guys some examples. Super, super simple. You can tweak this to your own. I know there's different word tracks, there's different ways to handle this. That's more advanced, but easiest things I can give you guys if you're starting out is you could use the two choices. You can use the two choices analogy. Best case. Swap these around. And I hope everyone's taking notes here, because this is stuff you could deadass use on your next call. And you want to be real the entire time when you're doing this. Like just be yourself, be a big brother, like big brother mentality. So two choices analogy is basically like, okay, so is it really just like fear? Yeah, it's just fear. And let's preface this by you could kick it off with like, mind if I offer now I know objection handling can be a bit tense sometimes, especially when you're starting out, because you're challenging them in a way. So if you feel like it's a bit tense right now, you could ask this before you go challenge them. You could be like, okay, cool. Do you mind if I offer some perspective on that without pissing you off? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say yes. Like, yeah, go ahead. I'm not gonna be pissed off. And then from that point on, you can go ahead and challenge the objection how you want without pissing them off, because you already asked them for permission. Abdullah, what was the thing I asked you on our call? Mind if it was perspective, right? Or something.
What you said, yeah. It's like, can I just show you a new perspective on that?
What was the OG one that you said on our call earlier?
Oh yeah, Scout, can I just give you a suggestion, bro? Something like that.
Yeah, suggestion, yeah. Or can I give you a
Perspective as well.
yeah. If I give a suggestion on that without pissing you off. So these are two things you could say before you go ahead and challenge someone, if you feel like you're not that comfortable yet with challenging someone. And then they won't be pissed off because you've already asked them permission to. And then boom, you can tear them apart after that. They said yes. So two choices analogy. It's like, look, at the end of the day, Mr. Prospect, it's going to be hard either way, whether you do this or not. But it's like, it's only two choices. It's either, but what's harder? And you could say something like, the two choices is either take a bet on yourself and learn the skills needed to become version 2.0, or stay the same. What I'm basically saying to the prospect is like, well, brother, it's going to be hard either way, whether you decide to do this or not, or whether you decide to do this tomorrow or today. So it's going to be hard, bro. It's not going to get any easier, right? But really, it just comes down to two choices at the end of the day. It's very simple. It's very binary. It's either you take a bet on yourself and go outside of your comfort zone. I'm basically saying it's either hard. It's going to be hard, but you can either have two choices. You either go outside of your comfort zone and you take that risk and you bet on yourself to make it work, or you don't do this and you just stay stuck in the same cycle you've been in for the past 1.52 years working at 9 to 5. Are you willing to settle for that? And then you'll be like, no, I don't want to settle for the same cycle. And then you can be like, what would that look like though? If things were the same. Kind of a word track. I'm not a big fan of doing word tracks because it's just so like scripty. But for the sake of simplicity, well, you get them to realize the whole point of this, guys, is their mind's so focused on what they're losing. They're losing, let's say your program was $2,000. They're so focused on losing $2,000, but they're looking at the cost of doing it, but they're not looking at the cost of inaction, not looking at the cost of not doing anything, which there is a cost. Like if they've been working 9 to 5 for 2 years, they hate it, and they want to get into high ticket sales. Well, it's either, bro, you learn the skills so you can get out your 9 to 5 and make 5K a month for the rest of your business career and become a new version of yourself, or you stay in the same cycle. You keep going to your 9 to 5 and things are the exact same. I mean, are you willing to settle for that? No, I'm not. But like, let's say hypothetically though, you settled for it. What would that look like for you? Well, I keep going to my shitty 9 to 5. I won't have the freedom I wanted. I'll keep having to clock in and out for my shifts. Okay, got it. Well, like I said, is this something that you're willing to settle for? No. So what do we need to do from here then? So that doesn't happen again. I need to do the program. Sweet. Can I welcome you in the team then? We can get you in? Yeah, let's do it. Close. And then when you ask for the close again, you could be like, what do we need to do from here then in order to put yourself in the best possible position? So that's one way you can go about it. Take notes, take a screenshot, take a picture of this, and add it to your framework. Steal this. So it goes from like step 1. Can I offer you asking permission? Can I offer you some perspective? Sure. Two choices analogy. It's going to be hard either way, but really it's just two things that can happen. Either you do this, you take a bet on yourself, you get outside your comfort zone, and you become the person you want it to be, or you stay in the same cycle and things are the same. Right? What would that look like for you? Let's swap these around. It would look like this. Are you willing to settle for that though? No. Why not? Because X, Y, Z. So what do we need to do then? This is the close again. You ask for the close again. going into this one, worst, middle, best case scenario. I know Abdullah, you like this one. You'd be like, I mean, bro, let's look at it this way. Now, can I offer a perspective on that real quick without pissing you off? Yeah, sure. I mean, if we look at it this way, bro, it's going to be hard whether you do this or not. Life's going to go on, and things are going to stay the same. But like worst case scenario, if we're being realistic, what's the worst case scenario? Ask them what's the worst case scenario. Let me cook for a second. What's the worst case scenario, bro? Well, if you do this, like worst case scenario, I'm down 2K, I'm down $2,000. I lose $2,000. Well, what's the best case scenario? Well, I invest $2,000, I learn the skills, and I've made an investment back. I've made that ROI, not just for 1 month, but for like the month after and the month after. And I'm making 5K a month, 10K a month. I've retired my mom. And what's like the middle case scenario? Well, I invest $2,000 and, you know, I do the program and I've made an ROI. I've made like 1 to 2K in that month. Okay, got it. Again, I'm letting the prospect do the work. Just ask them what's the worst case scenario, what's the best case scenario, and what's the middle case scenario. And then you could be like, well, is that not? Is that not worth on yourself to even get the middle case scenario? I'm not sure. This is a new one, by the way, guys, so I'm pretty rusty with it. But what's the worst case scenario? You're down $2,000. What's the best case scenario? This, and this. What's the middle case scenario? The realistic scenario. Well, this happens if I put in the work. I mean, bro, worst case scenario, you're down $2,000, but money, you can always make that back. You can just work. Are you working? You make that back. But if the best case scenario is you being able to retire your mom, well, is that not even worth like taking the bet on yourself for? I mean, yeah, sure. When you put it that way, yeah. Right. And even if we did the middle case scenario, you say you made $2,000 in your first month, you've already made the investment back. And you have the month after that and the month after that with the new skills that you learned. Right? Is that not worth going for? At least, what are you really losing here? Yeah, you're right. Never really thought about it that way. We're breaking beliefs. We're changing beliefs. So what do we need based on everything then? What do we need to do from here? So you can put yourself in the best position. Boom. Handled. Handled like a mofo. Okay, does that make sense, guys? Do you have any questions on this? Okay, no questions. Is there anything that you're not sure about still? Like, do I need to make it clearer? Offer, ask permission is like the first part. Ask for the close again. This is the last part. Now we'll take it a step further. And the whole time, like I said, your whole intention in your beingness should be on just being real. Big brother mentality. All right. How many of you have siblings? Who has siblings in here? Okay, Eden?
Yeah.
Can't just be me, lads.
No, I'm the
Lads
young.
and ladettes. It can't just be me who's talking. Come on. Me and Eden. Dom, Abdullah, Mikhail. You guys have siblings.
I'm the youngest one.
You're the youngest one. Okay. Thank you. Dom, are you the only child? What are you? You have siblings?
Youngest, got older sister.
Older sister. Okay. Abdullah, how about you?
Same here, bro.
What's that? You the only child? What is that?
No, same here, youngest.
We're all the
Youngest.
youngest.
So all of you guys are the youngest. I'm the only big brother here of the family. So we'll flip it on its head. It's like, have you guys ever like you were scared to do something? You knew it was something you had to do, but you're just a bit scared, and then your older sibling kind of just like eggs you on, like push you, like you got to do it. Like, come on, man up, or just do it. Right? Same thing here. I know you guys are the youngest, but y'all gotta be big brother. Y'all gotta be eldest sibling on these calls. Y'all gotta treat it like you are the eldest and you're there trying to help them trying to egg them onto a decision that's gonna be good for them. They're just a bit scared, but you know it's gonna be good for them. They're gonna thank you for pushing them, even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable. So just be real, big brother mentality. Like on the other side of the phone, I'm just gonna see. I'm the big brother here. You came to me. You need my help. What do you want me to do? You want me to just be a yes man and tell you what you want to hear, let you go without making a decision? All right, well, I've tried to help you, but if you don't want to make a decision, I can't help you. But if you want to actually do this, let me put it this way: two choices, worst, middle, best case scenario. And then yeah, so what you want to do from here so you could put yourself in the best position. Yeah, you're right. Fucking construction. This is Joe. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I'm not gonna talk about this anymore. Make sure you took notes on that. If you guys want me to talk more about fear objection handling and whatnot, then we can on a separate call. But let's go into the rest.
Okay, next one, energy and closer beingness. Now, shout out to Josh Lyons for the closer beingness term. He's the one who coined it in the first place. But all that really means is not just having the skill of sales on you, but also having it in you. So you have to be the same person outside of your calls as you are in your calls.
We have the last one, energy and closer beingness. We kind of talked about this already, but it's just you got to be real. You got to be willing to not be afraid to challenge if you feel like you're getting in their own way. And you just got to be yourself. You got to be your best self. Be present on the call. Don't change who you are off the call as to who you are on the call. Excuse me. Right? You shouldn't really be that much different to how you are when you're speaking to your mates versus when you're on the call. And this is what Josh Lyon says. Closer beingness. He came up with this term, and all that means is like presence. You got to step into that identity of being a closer. And we know what the closer is here to do. They're not there to try to take your money. Like we said, we are here to help them make a decision. So make that your entire being. Don't just pretend, don't just talk about doing that. This is your identity now, guys. This is your identity. This is what you came here to do on this earth, to help people. I'm going to say one more thing. Before I do, I want to make sure you guys aren't falling asleep. Do you guys have any comments on this training so far? Any questions? Any takeaways so far? I want to make sure you guys are actually listening and active and not falling asleep, because I've been the one yapping for 90% of the time, which is not good for closing. But yeah, thoughts on this so far, guys? What do you think?
Everything makes sense. I'm taking notes.
Sweet.
I
Dom?
like
I'd just say, like, obviously what we just said about being yourself and be the best energy, and always make sure you're only speaking, like you say, 10%, and ask simple questions and let them open up whilst you listen, and let them build their own report on themselves just while you take it all in and just understand the situation, really.
There's a key word right there. Open up. Let them open up. Let them vent to you. Don't vent for them. That's not your job. 100%. Eden, you were going to say something before I cut you off?
Yeah, I think this call helped piece up like a lot of the closing material that I've been watching. Because you get people that say don't ask for permission, don't speak about yourself and stuff like that. But it depends on where you're at in the script. I'm seeing like the first half, good discovery is building rapport, having precise questions, sitting back, sitting in silence and letting them talk. But I guess when it comes to like objection handling, that's when you kind of ask permission to have a perspective, perhaps maybe not yap, but give a bit more in-depth analogies. And then again, like talk them through it towards like objection
Yep.
handling when there's tension and you know there's resistance.
100%. Abdullah,
Yeah.
you said you're not right now. Okay, sweet. Yeah, we talked about this on our one-on-one. The only time, like when you're doing everything, guys, you need to be intentional with it. Whether you're cooking food like Abdullah is, be intentional with that shit, bro. When I'm on this call, I need to be intentional. I need to have the intention of helping you guys out, not be wandered, like scatterbrained. When you're on these calls, when you're talking, you should be intentional when you're talking. Like, why are you talking in the first place, bro? You gotta step back and ask yourself, like, why? When I watched this call back, why was I talking there? I shouldn't have talked there. Okay, then talk less. The only time you should be talking is if you're gonna ask a question. Asking questions, you could say building rapport, but this is even like a sticky one because sometimes we think we're building rapport, but we're just yapping for no reason. Asking questions, building rapport. Intro, frame, asking questions, building rapport. Pitching, objection handling. These are the only couple times. Like we can even remove this. The only couple times is when you should really only talk if you're asking a question, is if you're building rapport or authority. You're pitching, so you're gonna go down your pitch deck and you're gonna say what the program is, how it works, here's how it's structured. Yeah, talk all you want, but not too long. Even then, don't make this like if you have a long ass pitch deck, I challenge you to look at it and try like make it more concise so it's not too long. That's a different topic again for another call. And then objection handling. That's the only time you should be talking. Right?
Now, this last chapter is the most important one, in my opinion, because this is not just sales advice, this is self-development advice. And that is to handle your own objections in your own life before you handle prospects' objections on sales calls, right? Because sales is self-development at the end of the day. If you're not the type of person you need to be, then you're not going to be that type of person on the sales calls. If you're someone who doesn't show up, someone who's lazy, someone who makes excuses, aka objections, then how can you expect to handle someone else's objections if you're not that guy? It's basic hypocrisy here.
Now, last thing I will say before we wrap up, super important. This actually links to closer beingness, now that I think about it. Before you handle your prospect objections, handle your own objections. Before you handle your prospect's objections, handle your own objection. Closer beingness. Why is this closer beingness? Because closer beingness is being that guy in a day-to-day basis in the rest of your life outside of sales. You got to have that closer mindset. Part of a closer's mindset is it's going to be hard. Like part of the closer's mindset is self. That's why I think sales is self-improvement. That's why I love sales. It forces you to be the better person. And if you don't be the better person, it's going to bite you in the ass on your sales calls. You're not going to close guys if you can't even close yourself. Before you handle your prospects' objections, handle your own objections. There's times when, like, there's weeks when I've hopped on calls with people and I've been getting a lot of think about it. Like, let's say I've had 5 calls that week. 3 out of the 5 were, oh, I need to think about it. I need to sit on it. Sure, what I can do is take a look at that and be like, okay, maybe I need to practice my think about it objection handling. Fair enough, do that. But the bigger question we need to be asking ourselves, or I need to ask myself if that happens, is if I've been getting a lot of think about it objections, do I have a think about it objection myself in my own life? Is there something that in my own life that I'm procrastinating on? Does that make sense? Is that a bar? it bleeds into you. Like whatever you're doing outside of sales, it bleeds into you as well on sales. Another example. Let's say I've been getting a lot of, oh, I don't have the time objection. Okay, am I giving myself my own objections about not having time for something? Oh shit, look at that. 9 times out of 10 you are. Oh shit, lately this week I haven't been making time for the gym because I think I don't have the time for the gym. I need to work. There you go. Your answer's staring at you right in the fucking face. So think about that. Think about, am I giving myself my own objections in my own life? And if so, I need to handle those straight away. I need to overcome those. Because how can you expect someone to overcome their own objections if you can't even overcome your own objections? It just doesn't make sense when you think about it. You're just being a hypocrite. It's called hypocrisy. Sales is it's just like a mirror. It's like the mirror. When you look at yourself in the mirror, right? What does it show? It just shows you. It shows you as you are. It's not an inherently good or bad thing. It's just like, what is it showing back to you? Is that a good or a bad thing? It's the meaning that you give it. So with sales, it's like, how do I say this? How do I say this? Sales is just a mirror, guys. Sales is a mirror for life. It's just reflecting back to you what you're doing well, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and where you're slacking. The mirror is not talking to you, telling you need to lock in, or you're lacking on this department. It's not telling you that. It's just dead ass exposing. It's just an exposing mechanism. That's the mirror. I hope that makes sense, guys. Put a 1 in the chat if that made sense. Okay. Eden, Dom, Villa. All right, perfect. I would go away from this call today, your homework, apart from everything here, apart from taking notes. This stuff is deeper than sales. It's like, what excuses have I been giving myself lately in life, and am I actually going to be the one to step up and overcome them? Have I been slacking in the gym? If so, stop slacking in the fucking gym. Have I been procrastinating on doing certain modules in the program? Well, if you are, then fucking get to it. Do I need to, I don't know, speak to my mom? I said I'm going to speak to my mom. For the past 2-3 weeks, I haven't reached out. How can you, okay, you know what I'm trying to say. Lock in, fix yourself. Sales is self-improvement. Okay. Mic drop. That's it. Hope that helps today, guys. Sales training.
So there you have it, guys. We went over 7 pieces of niche sales advice, which you guys can implement today on your sales calls and in your DMs. Now, if you got to the end of this video and you're wondering, how can I be part of your coaching calls one day, Matt? Like, how do I get this sauce directly from you? So if you're actually serious and curious about how to get into remote sales the right way, first link in the description, guys. And if you are serious, booking a call. You'll speak one-on-one directly with me, where we're gonna see if this is even aligned for both of us. Anyways, if you enjoyed this one, like, comment, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Peace.